In this video, I'm going to give you 7 book recommendations. These are the books that will make you cry. I'm talking about actual physical tears that will come out of your eyes because of how emotional these books get you. Initially, I had planned to rank this list in terms of how intense they are, like the least amount of tears versus most amount of tears, but then I felt like the themes are so different, it would not be fair to rank this. So make sure you watch this video to the end and see all of these 7 books that I'm going to talk about. And in the very end, I'm also going to talk about the difficulty level. So if you're a very beginner, you will know which book to start with. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1 book is called The Rise of Shivagami by Anand Neelakantan. You all know about like the Bahubali movies, right? But do you know that there is a trilogy that is the story of Bahubali but before the movies happen? I personally have read only the first book, The Rise of Shivagami, and that is what I'm recommending to you. But now the entire trilogy is out. These are 3 books with epic storytelling, great character development, and written in a great way. I know this because I've read a lot of Anand Neelakantan books, and he's just like absolutely brilliant in terms of creating amazing stories written in a relatively easy to read manner. And the story actually was, narrated or conceptualized by S.S. Rajamouli, who is the person who created the Bahubali movie series. The whole series is now out if you want to check it out. The first book is The Rise of Shivagami, second is Chaturanga, and third is Queen of Mahishmati. And yes, definitely something that will make you cry. Mainly The Rise of Shivagami, it made me cry because of like Katappa's story. Katappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara? That is a different subject, but Katappa's whole own story, that was really heart touching, and just knowing about how amazing this person is and what happens to him is just like, you will cry for sure. Second book I want to recommend you is actually a romance novel called The Choice by Nicholas Sparks. In the age of, all of those fluff romantic novels, disturbing romantic novels, I'm talking about Colleen Hoover for sure. In that age, I feel like all the young people are forgetting all of these amazing heart-touching novels that are out there. And this is why kind of like, the love for romance novels is kind of fading amongst the youngsters, because romance novels of this time are kind of like red flags. Okay, they are not something you should look up to for like dreaming about your own love story or even just like enjoying. But that is why I felt like I have to include this book of an author who has written a lot of romance novels, and his stories are beautiful. I'm talking about Nicholas Sparks, and the book that I want to recommend you is The Choice. Seriously, this book was something that I read and pretty young in my life. I must have been 20 when I read this. And it's such a beautiful story of these two people falling in love, and then this guy facing a very difficult choice in his life, hence the name The Choice. And oh my god, this is something where I cried so much, and I know that I was at my home and my mom was looking at me like as if I had gone crazy. And also, this happens to be the first book that I read that made me cry so much. So I definitely have to recommend it to you. Like if you're looking for like beautiful romance stories, you need to pick up Nicholas Sparks for sure. Number 3 book is kind of on a serious subject. It's called Shoes of the Dead by Kota Nilima. It's a fictional story that kind of shows you the life of a farmer. The subject of the book is around the farmers' suicides in India. And the book is really just about like farmers, about their life, about them living in distress because of number of reasons. And if you are a person who has lived in city throughout your life, or if you are a person who doesn't know much about like how the life of these people is, these people who are in charge of feeding you, the reason why you have absolutely amazing food in front of you is because of these very hardworking people who work day and night to, feed all of us. So if you're a person who has never been connected to their lives, this book kind of gives you a glimpse into their lives, how difficult it is, what they're struggling with, and, just helps you understand them better. So I would really recommend you to read it. It's definitely something that will bring tears to your eyes as well. At number 4, I want to recommend you another romance novel, but this one is different from Nicholas Sparks kinds of books, because this one is set against a very tense backdrop, and this book is Chasi by Satya Vyas, or 84 by Satya Vyas. It's written in Hindi. It's a story of these two people. There's Rishi, who is a Hindu boy, and there's Manu, who's a Sikh girl. And the time is 1984, when um, the riots against Sikhs happen. So their story is at that time, and because of that, there's so much that happens in this book that kind of like just fills up your heart with emotions. And it's such a beautifully written and beautifully delivered story as well. I have done a full review of this book on the channel if you want to check it out. It's in Hindi. I will link it down below in the description. But yes, it's such a beautiful book, but also makes you cry in the end. So yeah, I wanted to recommend this to you. This is one of my favorite romance novels out there. I just like look for beauty and that love and that beautiful emotions in romance novels. So stuff like Colleen Hoover, that's not beautiful emotions. That's just like doing something or writing provocative things just to, sell, or just so that it goes viral on Instagram or TikTok. And I have like read those books and like made vlogs about it in case you want to check them out. But I feel like these are the kind of romance novels that we need to read more of. Churasi, Nicholas Sparks as well. Like he just writes normal, casual romance novels, but I would pick them instead of like all the Colleen Hoover books anytime. If you're a Colleen Hoover lover and you're currently most probably hating me for saying all of this stuff, I'm sorry, but also I'm not. Anyway, at number 5, I want to recommend you The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. It's a very heartbreaking novel that's all about the strength and spirit of women. It's set against the backdrop of World War II, and it's really like follows these two sisters, Isabel and Vianne. Both have like different like life trajectory and roles here, but like it's set in that time, and it's really just a story through which the author tries to tell you about the role that women played in the World War II, and like how their lives sort of like suffered and what they went through when this was happening. And this is really like a very intense read, a read that definitely will make you cry. And even if you don't get physical tears, which you will, but even if you don't, your heart would really cry just like reading about these sisters and reading this story. So yeah, check it out. At number 6, I have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is a story that I feel like needs no introduction. It's again set up against a very intense backdrop, when the monarchy in Afghanistan had fallen, and there were refugees going to Pakistan or the US, and it's set against that backdrop, and it's story of this person Amir and his relationship with his father, but also it's a story about these two friends and how Amir sort of like betrayed and did not protect his friend Hassan at a time, and like his guilt and his emotions because of failing to do this thing. It's a story about that. I read it like years ago, and I do feel like it needs a reread from me. But yeah, maybe this is a book which you will pick up if you haven't picked it up, and I will pick up again because it's a beautiful story that should be reread if I do not remember all of the stuff that happens in this, right? So yes, this is another book that will make you cry, that will make you emotional, that you should check out. And lastly, I have a classic, which is Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. It's a story of a horse. It's a story of this horse going through different phases in its life, and it's just heart-wrenching. It's just again something that makes you cry a lot. And definitely something you should check out. So yes, these are the 7 books. Like I promised, in terms of like which book is more difficult to read, let's talk about like the easiest one. At number 1, I would say Churasi. It's easiest to read, and not just because it's in Hindi and like maybe I'm thinking if like you have more hold in Hindi rather than English. That's not at all the case. It's just like even Hindi has its tiers. Like there's like difficult Hindi language, which like I tried making videos in like pure Hindi language. People did not understand it, okay? So this is not that. That's why it's there. It's like easy to read, simple Hindi. So yes, that's why I would recommend like easiest to read is Churasi. At number 2 is Black Beauty. It's children's classic, so very, very easy to read. And that's not usually true for most classics, even like most children classics, because they are classics, they're written in that like old English language, so they are sometimes difficult. For example, Agatha Christie books are not that easy to get in, but this one is. So this is very simple. So you can try it out. Third is Rise of Shivagami, Anand Neelakantan. His writing is very complex, but his words are very simple. So you can easily like get through this book and you can easily read it. Then at number 4 is The Choice by Nicholas Sparks. Number 5, The Shoes of the Dead. Number 6, Kite Runner. And number 7, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I feel like Kristen Hanna, her books are like nowadays, like they are being adapted into movies and stuff like that, and she doesn't like, it's not complex because somebody wanted to make it complex. It's just like her writing, her plot and stuff like that. I feel like for a beginner beginner Indian reader, that might be a little difficult, so that's why that's the lowest in my list in terms of least difficult to most difficult. But yes, this is my list. And please, before you go, please make sure you like this video and comment down below and possibly share this video. Doing so that helps my video reach more people and help this, like, our brilliant habit of reading books reach more people, and more people get to know about the books that they should be reading. So it will really help my channel as well as other people. So help me do this, okay? So like, share, subscribe, comment, and this is Manpreet signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.